Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com, balloverseas.com. This is the Overseas Basketball Blueprint you are listening to, and the topic is training at game speed. Now, I just talked about game speed and how the speeds of the game, the speed of the games change as you move up in levels. Now, this is the topic that I've addressed with basketball players back in my YouTubing, basketball YouTube days when I pioneered that whole platform way back in the day. Some of y'all probably don't even know about that. But players would ask me about training at game speed. Dre, how do I train at game speed? Or maybe I put out a basketball drill and somebody said, well, you're not moving at game speed, Dre. But people don't really understand what game speed means when it comes to playing basketball. And this is going to go back to the point of players who want to play at the pro level. Since this is the Overseas Basketball Blueprint you're listening to, you need to get as many game repetitions as you possibly can. Game reps playing against players who can actually play, not just playing in any kind of bullshit basketball games, but games with players who can play. Here's the thing about game speed. Many players think, and there are even some trainers out there who will preach that practicing or training at game speed, quote unquote, means, and this is what many players erroneously think, it means going as fast as you possibly can. That means game speed. You go as fast as you possibly can, you're training at game speed. So if somebody's moving and they don't see any moving as fast as they can, you're like, oh, that's cool what you did, but you ain't doing it at game speed. Or it's cool that you made those shots, but you're not moving at game speed. Listen, game speed is not always the same speed. Think about the last time you played in a game or the last time you watched a game. Go watch one player and tell me, are they moving as fast as they possibly can the entire game? No. No basketball player does that. No basketball player has ever done that, and no basketball player will do that. They'd be so tired within the first 10 minutes of the game, they wouldn't be able to finish the game. Game speed does not mean as fast as you can. It means changing speeds as necessary based on what you're doing at that time. In a game of basketball, you will see a player go at paces. I heard somebody once say that a player should have 4 speeds. They have jogging, running, sprinting, and damn. The damn speed just means you just start blowing people away. That's when you get into hyperdrive speed, where you just explode. Those players who are explosive like that just make an explosive move. Doesn't necessarily have to be vertically a dunk. It could be a quick move, or just a defensive move, or blocking a shot, grabbing a rebound, whatever it might be. A power move on offense, whatever that is. That's your fastest hyper speed, full speed. Then you have sprinting, you got running, and then you got jogging. And also, you can add in a few more. You got standing still. Y'all watch basketball, right? How often do you see a player on offense standing still? Because the offense is being run, maybe they're not involved, and the ball's on the other side of the floor, and that's their role for that moment on that play, is to just stand still and just be there. Be in position. If you get the ball, do something, but for now, don't move around. We need you to be right here to keep the defense occupied from the spot that you're at. On defense, how often do you see a player standing still? Because the ball is not where they are. They're watching their man in the ball. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing, but it's nothing for them to do but just stand still for that moment, because nothing's happening in that moment. And it could be several seconds could go by in the possession, and the player is just standing there. And then also you got to consider lateral movements. On defense, a lot of times when you're playing defense, you're not running, you're not sprinting, you're not doing any of those things. You're not jogging either. You are moving laterally. A lot of defense in basketball is lateral side-to-side movement. And it's not necessarily you have to do it as fast as you can. You just got to move to the right spaces, be in the right place often to deter the offense from doing a certain thing. If you move laterally on defense to the right space at the right time, then the offense won't pass the ball to that guy that you're shading and getting close to, because you're denying it, or you're close enough that the offense can see, all right, throwing that pass is probably going to get stolen or deflected, so they don't throw the ball. So you don't get any action because of the action that you took. But it's not because you sprinted there or went there as fast as you possibly could at quote unquote game speed. Is because you moved to the right space at the right time. So what I want you to understand about game speed, that maybe some amateur players, maybe some of you who are amateur players listening to this right now, and some amateur trainers who don't really know what they're talking about but want to sound like they do, may tell you that game speed means going as fast as you can. That is not what game speed means. Game speed means the way that you think the game. It is the way that you internalize the game and see the game within the game. And hopefully, if your game speed is up to speed, you can see the game before it even happens. You can anticipate what the offensive team is going to do. Players who get a lot of steals and a lot of block shots, these are players who can anticipate where the ball is going or what's about to happen before it happens, so they can make those quick reactive moves, but it's actually not even a reaction. It's like they are ready for it before the action even occurs. So this is why any of you who knows analytics or scouting in basketball, when scouts want to measure a player's athleticism, they don't measure how high you jump. They don't measure your vertical leap. They don't look at how big your muscles are. They look at the numbers they look at your rebounding, your steals, and your blocks. Those are the stats that scouts look at when they're trying to measure a player's athleticism. And let me explain to you why. Because it's not just because it's all mental, it is partly physical as well. But because steals, rebounds, and blocks are things that can only happen as a response to something else happening. You understand? A dunk could be you just get the ball, you jump really high, and you dunk the ball. You did it, nobody else had to be involved. A steal means somebody else had to do something. The other team has the ball, they're doing something. They obviously don't want you to steal the ball, but you're able to either anticipate or react. You have the quickness, the speed, the length, whatever, to get that ball away from them and then get control of it yourself and force that turnover. That you need athleticism to do that. To block a shot, obviously no player wants to get their shot blocked. If they're shooting the ball, they want to score. They want to go in the basket. You block it and keep it from going in the basket. That requires a high level of reaction. It requires a high level of instincts and timing. Now, yes, you could be very tall and block shots. So if somebody's like 7'5", Sean Bradley or Yao Ming, and they block a lot of shots, doesn't necessarily mean that they're athletic. I'm talking about somebody who may not be super tall, but they're still blocking shots. You look at somebody like Dwayne Wade, who will block a lot of shots as a guard. Michael Jordan, who blocked a lot of shots as a guard. Or somebody like Scottie Pippen, Kawhi Leonard. These players who block a lot of shots, even though they're not the tallest guy out there on the court, or they get a lot of steals. And all those guys, those 3 guys, 4 guys I just mentioned, Jordan, Pippen, Kawhi, Dwayne Wade, these are players who all got a lot of steals and a lot of blocks, even though they were almost never the tallest guy on the court for their team or for the other team, but they were able to make these plays because these are anticipatory skills. So you need the anticipation, of course, but you also need the athleticism to make the play. Because if I see what's happening, let's say I think the game really well and I see what's about to happen, but I don't have the physical tools to do anything about it, then yeah, my game speed mentally is there, but my athleticism is not, so I can't combine the two. So you need both. And this is why those players become these elite wings. You see a guy like a Paul George, a Kawhi, even a LeBron, maybe not in his advanced years, but LeBron in his prime, and he had a very long prime, he did these athletic things. Dwayne Wade, another example. Allen Iverson, he didn't block a lot of shots, but he got a lot of steals because he could anticipate where that ball was going. He was super quick, so he could do something about it. He had really long arms, and he also had license to gamble because he had a guy like Dikembe Mutombo on his back nine cleaning up his mistakes. And George Lynch, Eric Snow, great team around him. A different conversation, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying. Game speed, ladies and gentlemen, this is the main point. It's not about how fast you are physically moving your feet. It's about how you are seeing the game, anticipating, and then combining that with your whatever physical tools you have, using that anticipation, mental anticipation, combining it with your physical tools to make plays. All right, that's what game speed means. So the better you can move at game speed, this is something that you can develop. Let me back up. How you can develop game speed instincts is work with a trainer who understands training for game speed. I'm not a basketball trainer, so go find a trainer who knows how to train players for game speed. Ask your trainer, how can you train me to play at game speed? What does it mean to play at game speed? Let them explain it to you. Let them tell you what they're going to do, how they're going to help you, how you can learn, maybe give you some examples of players they have helped already play at game speed, or some examples of what it means to be at game speed so that you can understand it. And if their explanation doesn't make sense to you, then you need to find a different trainer. All right? You're hiring somebody, whatever they explain to you they're going to do should make sense. If it doesn't make sense, why would you even hire them? Why would you keep paying them? Wouldn't make any sense to me. I don't know why you would do it. So find you a trainer who can help you. Go play in games. Again, I'm going to say this over and over again. Play in games with and against players who are at the professional level, who can understand game speed, and ask them questions about anything that you hear me say when it comes to game speed, so you can verify, first of all, that I know what I'm talking about. Maybe I'm telling you a bunch of bullshit that makes no sense. Go talk to them, let them tell you. Ask them questions about the things you hear me say and let them verify it. Let them confirm it, because I do know what I'm talking about. And you'll see that when you go ask these players. Then ask them, How do you play at game speed? What does it mean? What are you seeing out there? How are you able to make those passes so early? How are you able to kind of anticipate my moves before I made them? How would you help me? Like, that's a better question is, how would I get better? How can I get better and get up to seeing the game the way that you see the game? And let them answer the questions. They will tell you. I understand something about basketball players. If you can humble yourself enough to ask a player, hey, that skill that you have, you're really good at that. How can I learn how to do it like that? How did you get good at that? How did you develop these abilities? They will share the wealth with you. But you have to be humble enough and willing enough to ask the question, how are they able to actually do it? So this is what it means to play at game speed. It's not about just running as fast as you can. All right, maybe in high school your coach might have told you that. That's not really what the game is. Nobody's running at full speed all game long in basketball. Watch a game and see for yourself. It's obvious. So that's what game speed is about. For those of y'all who do not know, again, this show is on all the podcasting platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, SoundCloud, Blueberry, all of those. Make sure you leave a rating, please, and leave a review of the show. Let me and the whole team and everybody who may be looking at this show, let us know what value you've been getting from the game that I'm dropping here on the show and the game that you anticipate me to drop in the future, because I got a lot more on the way. If you have not yet, make sure you get your free copy. Claim your free copy of the physical Overseas Basketball Blueprint book, 237-page book with everything you need to know, do, and avoid when it comes to starting your professional basketball career overseas. And let me know what you think about this material that I've been dropping so far. Do you want more? You want me to do longer episodes, shorter, more of them, less of them? Let me know what you think about the show. I need to know what y'all think about this material, because if I'm just dropping it and I'm not getting any feedback, then I don't know if you're liking it or not, even if you're consuming it. So tell me, talk to me, let me know. I'm open to all feedback. Work on your game. Dre all day.